I talk about the issues, we all talk about them differently, but what I'm not going to do is play some game of focusing on some word that somebody else said without ignoring entirely the substance of what we're actually talking about.
Vivek Ramaswamy is going down the daggone line with these fake news reporters who clearly are not ready. She was not ready for Vivek.
That language, they live like vermin. Do you believe that that is, as your Republican colleague Chris Christie has said, neo-Nazi rhetoric?
That language, they live like vermin. She said Chris Christie, his colleague, claims that is neo-Nazi rhetoric, all right? And apparently Trump called someone vermin, said that they're living like vermin. Honestly, until they clean up certain parts of the United States, until some people clean up their own lives, they kind of are living like vermin. But, you know what I mean? When you're politicians, you're not supposed to speak the truth, apparently. But
this is a classic mainstream media move. Pick some individual phrase of Donald Trump, focus on literally that word without actually interrogating the substance of what's at issue.
The word was chosen for a
in the middle of a cultural war in this country.
Well, you know what?
It's actually describing a series of behaviors. You have Antifa and other related groups that have been burning down cities for the last 3 years in this country.
Would you describe them as vermin?
Would you describe them as vermin? I want to talk about vermin. Please, let's stay here. It's vermin. I get it, but I want to talk about vermin. Like, this is a gotcha question. I want to gotcha.
Rule of law. We have an invasion on our southern border. We have millions of people crossing our southern border. Let's talk about the substance of why we have to recognize that we're not in ordinary times.
Would you use that language yourself?
The vocabulary of the vermin or not is not what's important. Well, I haven't used that language. So you can look at my track record on the campaign trail. I talk about the issues. We all talk about them differently. But what I'm not going to do is play some game of focusing on some word that somebody else said without ignoring entirely the substance of what we're actually talking about. A border crisis of historic proportion. Economic stagnation we haven't seen in 50 years. A national identity crisis and a loss of national pride.
And everything that he's saying needs, hold on, well, let's back it up just a little bit, because everything he's saying needs its own time for discussion.
The the vermin or not is not what's important. Well, I haven't used that language. So you can look at my track record on the campaign trail. I talk about the issues. We all talk about them differently. But what I'm not going to do is play some game of focusing on some word that somebody else said without ignoring entirely the substance of what we're actually talking about.
And that's what we need to do more than anything. A lot of times us adults, we don't want to focus on the substance because it hurts our argument. It makes us seem like we don't know what the hell we're talking about simply because of that word. He called him vermin. What about that? He called him vermin. That was the same thing, honestly, that was the same exact thing that happened when Hillary Clinton said basket of deplorables. People are like, they're calling y'all deplorables. Did you hear that? They're calling you all deplorables. And we allow politicians to play with our minds like that. We are the problem when it comes to this right here, because she's trying to set him up, but he's about to knock it down. Now listen to this right here. This need to be said.
A border crisis of historic proportion.
A border crisis of historic proportion. This is why the vermin comment even was had, right? We see the border right now. 10 million plus people have come in through over the border illegally. All right. Since then, more than 2 million people have died from fentanyl. All right. And Trump made an assessment about what he see and what he's studying himself. I mean, that's the reason why he wanted to put up a wall in the first place. But this CNN reporter, she don't want to pay attention to that, because then that will make it seem like everything that she and her company stand for they're wrong. And they don't want to be on the wrong side of history. She see that she messed up. She knows she messed up by introducing this word to Vivek Ramaswamy. But Vivek, he's giving these mainstream media reporters hell, and she deserves every penny of it.
Economic stagnation we haven't seen in 50 years. A national
economic stagnation that we haven't seen in 50 years. But if you ask Corinne Jean-Pierre, or if you ask Joe Biden, they will say that this is the best the country has been doing in a long time. The economy is doing great. It's never been greater. What are they smoking?
Identity
Probably the same thing his son is smoking.
crisis and a loss of national pride in the next generation that's potentially existential for this country. Let's talk about our dependence on China. Today we're actually talking about Xi Jinping, picking on Donald Trump's word vermin to talk about that status quo. You know what's vermin? What's running around San Francisco on a given day before Gavin Newsom cleaned it up on a dime.
And he actually said that.
To roll out the red carpet for Xi Jinping.
He actually said that because Xi Jinping came to visit San Francisco. I don't know if he came already, but he definitely made sure that they cleaned up at least the spaces that Xi Jinping was going to see. Oh, we need to tidy this up. Move the bums off the street. Just take a broom and just sweep them off the street. sweep the homeless people off the street. Just sweep them off the street. Take down their tents too. I don't want to see no tents. I don't want to see no bedding anywhere. Like, just put them over somewhere in the corner. If Xi Jinping is passing these streets, we don't want to see any homeless people anywhere. Let's go ahead and sweep them out the way. Sweep them out the way. They got to go. He actually said that. That's unfortunate. That's nasty. Like, the only time you clean up your house is when you're having company. Just think about that. That's essentially what it is. The only time you're going to go clean up your home or straighten up your home, because you're not cleaning it. You're just straightening it up. You're just tidying up, taking stuff from out of the sight of others, and you're just throwing it into a room that no one's going to go in. Matter of fact, lock that room, because we just threw everything in there. Nothing's clean about that room. That's just nasty. It's trifling. It's extremely trifling. But what he's pointing out to her, she needs to hear. CNN don't want to hear that, though.
If he could do that for Xi Jinping, he could have done it on an ordinary day, and yet we're here sitting talking not about the substance of that, but on one word that Donald Trump said in some speech in Miami. This is what's wrong with the mainstream media. Focus on the substance and let's have an actual policy debate rather than talking to a presidential candidate instead of the policy substance of what's actually going on in the country, picking on some word that Donald Trump said on a certain day and asking me for comment on it. Give me a break.
She deserved every penny of that ass whooping. Thank you so much, Vivek Ramaswamy. She deserved it. You gave it to her. That's what we need. We need people to be that honest to these news reporters. We need people to be that honest, period. Give them the business. He shut her down to the point where she just got tired of even coming back. She had no comeback. She just wanted to talk about the word. Look, my notes said just to talk about the word. That's all my notes said. I don't know what you're saying is true, but I can't tell you that. I will lose my job. You see how they got rid of Don Lemon? They will get rid of me. I want to keep my job. If Fox ain't going to hire me, who's going to hire me? Just like the dude that owns Peloton, CEO of Peloton. They might let go 500 more people. Well, they are letting go 500 more people, and this is the fourth round of layoffs. Well, CNN have been doing the same thing because they've been finding out that a lot of their people have been garbage. She's silly as hell for playing the game and not even knowing how to stand up on her own too against Vivek Ramaswamy. She had an opportunity to communicate with him about the substance that he brought up. But you see, she didn't come back because what can she say? What could you possibly say? Everything he pointed out was facts. It wasn't what he think. It was actually what was going on. So she couldn't do anything. She got stuck like Chuck in the pickup truck, as they say. Vivek Ramaswamy is going down the daggone line with these fake news reporters who clearly are not ready. She was not ready for Vivek. So she should have gotten ready because she know. It's not a surprise. We're bringing him here. You already know what he's capable of. So at the end of the day, get ready.